Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Cold Hell here, and today I'll be making a wood plank, a wood tutorial, basically wood plank / wood log tutorial on Blender. This project is very suitable for those who use Unity 3D as well, because I'll teach you how to UV map it on top of making the wood logs or wood planks, and exporting this to Unity 3D will just work straight ahead. All you have to do is add the material, and the material will straight ahead just work into it. So since I'm not going to use the Blender camera, I'm going to just remove the camera and remove the lamp. If you're using the Blender camera for other purposes such as Blender animation and whatnot, you might want to keep the camera, but in my case I'm not, so I'm not going to use it. So go ahead and right click this. Now one thing we're going to need to do is change from Blender render to cycles render. Do this from now because it's for the UV mapping. In my experience in the past, Blender render did not work. Cycles render did work, however. One more thing, I'm not a pro, I'm an amateur, just to let you know. But I've learned from other amateurs and pros, and this method could be in use to people at my level or below my level. So this is just a share of experience. So we have a cube over here, and I usually like to start working on a cube for the wood plank, and I'm just gonna go ahead and move this aside, and I'm gonna press Shift C. Okay, I'm gonna make Shift A cylinder, and just press R, Y, or RX, sorry, or Y, X. Okay, press R to rotate and X for the X axis, and type 90 and hit enter. So basically it's an easy rotation. But I'm going to keep this cylinder is for the wood log. I'm going to keep it for later and use it later. So I'm going to work on the cube right now. So basically for the cube, Shift C will reset your positioning. So for the cube, I'm just going to resize it. So I'm going to go to the Z axis, make it thinner, X, S is to resize, X like this, and SY. So basically this is closer to a wood plank, and you resize it to whatever kind of size you want. Now this is for one wood plank, which means if you wish to make more than one, I would definitely recommend making this much thicker. So let's say you can have several ones of these, right? But for the moment, okay, I'm gonna make a simple wood plank aside, and then I'll come back to this later and show you how you could mess around with this. So Shift A, cube, alright, and we're gonna resize this as well. Now you could just watch this tutorial and then you could use the methods later and whatnot. So basically we have this simple, innocent, manufactured block that looks like, you know, a perfectly cut thing. So we want to make it look old, for example. How do we give this effect? So press Tab to go to the edit mode, and then Control R to make cuts. And when you scroll, you'll be able to decide how many cuts you want. Down on the left, it'll be written how many number of cuts you have. Okay, so scroll, and I want, for example, like 4 is good enough, or yeah, 4 works, or 5 even. Okay, now if you left click, you can move around. Right click will do not bring the cuts to the edges, because that will create more vertices on the edge closer, and when you want to deform this later with the method I'm going to show you, it's a bad idea. So just keep it to the center if you can. To put it to the exact center, just right click and it goes back to the center, right? Hit A to deselect, A to reselect everything. Okay, so this is our wood log, and we want to make it look like a wood plank, a used wood plank, I mean. Okay, you're gonna go ahead and press this button here. This will allow you to see through with the texture on. Now there's another method that will turn off the texture and let you see through everything, which is the letter Z on your shortcut key. I prefer this method better, this one here. I can see the texture. Now press C. C is a selection tool brush, so you can select vertices. You see how it's selected through, like I just hit this and it just selected through them. If you turn off this, it's not going to allow you to select through. See? So I want to make a random selection. You can scroll to resize the selection tool, see, and make a random stroke. Okay, so this is our random stroke, and now I'm going to press S and pull this a little bit. See, you're starting to create some deformation, right? Do it again. And pull this backwards. And do it again, over and over. But don't exaggerate it too much, though. Try to keep it natural. Now you could go ahead and add a cut, Control R in the middle, and make another deformation. One of my favorite deformations is when you select these two over here, for example, and you make them smaller, you know, and you go ahead again over here and make it smaller. So one side is really nothing like the other one. And then another just random stroke. Okay, so I'm going to stop right here for the plank. Now this looks like a slightly more used older plank, but now we need to UV map it. So make sure you're on this cycles render, and you're in, you go out of the edit mode to object mode. Okay, make sure your plank is selected and go over here to the materials bar. And we're going to create this in new material. So press new. So this is material 1. If you already had the material, just press minus button, it's removed, and press new. Go down here to color, we're going to make it an image texture. So press open to find the image texture, and right now I'm just going to go to Google and show you how to find those textures. So for example, you could go to wood texture, for example. Since this is a wood plank, you would want something like this, for example, one of these. So let's see, you want something simple, right, and high quality if it's available, but it's not the end of the world if it's not high quality. You find whatever you want. So for example, I like this one. This one looks good. If it doesn't have any tags on it, I'll take it. Okay, this is actually low quality. I'm not going to take it. Yeah, what about this one? Okay, this one looks much better. I'm going to take this one. So save image as, and save it to wherever you wish. I'm going to rename it for my own purposes because renaming creates less chaos. Plank, forest plank. Okay. And I'm going to go back ahead over here. Alright, so I saved it in this directory. Now, one way for, instead of just reading through all these, all you could do is press the thumbnails. So here, right here, yeah. You can choose between these. So I could just easily see where it is. And there it is. Double click. Now you have it over here, right? This is your material. If you're going to use the Blender camera, go ahead and mess around with the surface roughness. But since I'm going to put this into Unity 3D, this effect, I don't think it's going to take place over there. So I'm just going to leave these details alone, and I'm not experienced with them either with the Blender camera. So go ahead and go to edit mode by pressing tab button. We're back to the edit mode, right? And press here. You see this button here? Yeah, you're just going to drag it to split the window by 2. Go down over here and go to UV image editor. So now we're in the UV image editor. Go ahead over here and press the force blank. Now you could have a different picture, but this is assigned specifically to this material, which means you could have another picture, but it's going to go back to this picture material. Anyways, it's not a big deal. So basically, how do we just UV map this? It's very easy. Since you're in cycles render, press A, select all of it, press U. It's going to open the UV mapping, and then press unwrap. Now you can't see the material yet, so go down here and go material or texture. Works both cases. So if you get closer, there you go. This is a simple wood plank. But let's say you're not satisfied with this. You want to resize your things. Go back to edit, make sure everything is selected, and then just mess around with the size. You know, just go around and do whatever pleases you. If you're still unhappy with the results of the textures, the best thing you can do is find other textures and then mess around with the resizings, you know, by pressing tab, pressing A. So this is the UV, and then you make sure your mouse is over this here, this place, and you press S and just resize it. You can rotate it if you wish to, but keep it straight just to make it look like a plank properly. And press G to move it around, basically. I'm gonna make sure it's small. So there you go. This looks like somewhat a wood plank.